Right.
All right. Call the board of the planning board meeting to order. Patty, could you do the roll, please?
I can. Dawn Span is absent. Ronald Bisson,
Present.
Kate Bickford, Carrie Bickford, excuse me, Larry Brand,
Present.
Dan Flagg,
Present.
Scott Libby,
Present,
and Joshua Spooner.
Here.
Okay,
and both Dawn and Carrie
Carrie
are
and Dawn.
excused.
thank you.
So we have one item on the agenda tonight for the site plan for the solarized Topsham solar for the proposed solar farm at 449 Augusta Road, tax map R10 lot 85. So we're going to do a quick presentation on.
We don't cover the minutes.
Oh, geez, did I skip right over the minutes?
You did.
And it's right there on my agenda. Sorry about that. All right, first, the minutes from.
Oh, too late.
Approval of minutes from October 13th, 2022. Any comments on the minutes you received?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented to us. I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? No, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained. So,
That's it.
okay, let's move on to item D on the agenda, site plan for the Topsham Solar proposed solar farm on Augusta Road. So, Anthony. Over to you. Please introduce yourself.
Great, thank you, board. My name is Pat Jackson. I'm with Solarized Topsham, and with me tonight I have Brooke Barnes of Stantec Consulting. Stantec was our lead environmental civil engineer working with civil. So just to provide an introduction of the project, you may recognize me, but basically we were here in 2020 for a project at 449 Augusta Road. And we received our approvals for the project, and I'll let Brooke go into more detail if you have any questions, but as a refresher from last time, the footprint of the previously approved project is quite larger. It's close to 20 acres. The project before you tonight is a fraction of that. The fenced-in footprint is just shy of 5 acres, including with temporary laydown area, access road, plantings. It comes close to 8 acres, but all in all, it's a unfortunately substantially smaller footprint than previously approved. As I think I explained last time we were here, the reason we're coming back for a new approval is that there was a retroactive policy change to the NEB program where there was just kind of a bright line in the sand on which projects qualify, and this project, having nothing to do with the permits, missed that bright line qualification because our CMP signature for the distribution agreement was 8 days after that bright line. Even though they were delayed, it didn't matter. So it was unfortunate, but it's still a good project and one we're proud of. It'll be a community solar project. So any electric utility customer of this within the CNP territory will technically be able to be a customer of this project. We're happy that it has community benefits as well. Let's see, since we were here last time, we received comments from third-party engineer, Mr. Saucier, and we replied to each of the comments and questions. So if you have any questions after looking at that, we're really happy to answer them, and any other questions you have as well.
All right, thank you. Yeah, on that memo, there was one question about the moving of the fence posts.
Sure.
It probably should have been super clear to me, but so I couldn't tell on the plans. I could see where it was, but I
Yeah.
couldn't see where it was moving. I think that's going to be on the final set of plans.
Yeah.
Submission, right? And so one of the posts is right on the line, and you can stand in the site when you put it in. And the other one's been moved, or the fence is being moved.
Yeah, that's what we're considering doing, and we do acknowledge that there's a it's a very nominal formulaic fee associated with any kind of impact in that area. We're looking to move that in as we compile any comments from the DEP. We're happy to make that minor adjustment, but it's relatively minute.
Okay, and the other one was, I assume in the final plans, they had mentioned that, I saw the existing vegetation and the clearing limits in the plans we had in hand, but the note will be added
Mhm.
to the final plans.
Absolutely.
About no clearing beyond retaining vegetation.
Yep.
I had one more question. I think maybe it's more for you, Pat. The itemized decommissioning estimate, I mean, to me, it looked fine, but I'm not a solar farm decommissioning expert. I know that the larger one we recently approved, we had someone review it, right? It was part of one, or at least that was gonna be one of the conditions we had.
Yeah.
This one is a much smaller effort, and it seemed reasonable, but I didn't know if that had been reviewed by Tom Saucier or staff.
Not that I'm aware of, but I can ask them to do that.
If I may, I believe, when that was being discussed on the, I don't remember the exact terminology, of it, a sketch plan or,
Yeah.
but with Mr. Saucier, what he remembered was on the plan that was gonna be reviewed, they did not itemize it, they didn't break it down. And so it's just, I think there's just a total dollar amount, without any of the math behind it. And so after talking, I believe, because we itemized it out, they thought it was a sufficient estimate, but I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Yeah, it seemed reasonable as far as, you know, all the breakouts and covering what I think would need to be removed and done. But,
And it's
If that's gonna be-
adjusted for inflation. as well.
yeah, and we have, one of the conditions is, you know, meeting his comments anyway.
Right.
So we can have that in there.
I will check the phone tomorrow.
Anyone else on the board? On this side, any questions?
I'm presuming that under the NEB change, that I know there was, and I don't know a whole lot about this, that's why I'm asking you.
Sure.
That there was something as far as there was a potential out for some projects to still get P&C approval. I take it that doesn't apply to your bigger project. Yeah.
There's, I'm not sure I fully understand the question, I guess.
Well, I thought when the legislature changed the NEB guidelines.
Yeah.
Or that if you had a certain level or you were at a certain point, then you might be still able to be kind of grandfathered
Yes.
in.
Yeah, exactly. So that's correct. So basically the bill that became statute outlined kind of criteria for what deemed a project eligible and what deemed it ineligible. And there were a bunch of if-thens. But in basically, how to explain this simply. So if you did not, if you had a customer agreement that would take all of the power, so let's say the city of Topsham was going to take all the power, and you had signed that agreement before like April 1st of last year, then it didn't matter if you had your permits or your CMP distribution agreement. So it's kind of like you're way in without your project being like advanced. If you did not have a single large customer, which this project doesn't, and that we usually do community solar projects versus like one large off-taker.
Yeah.
Then it switches to a different if-then, which is you need to have your distribution agreement with CMP signed by 12/31/2021, and we signed it 1/6/2022.
Yeah.
So And this was despite that we had all of our permits, we had everything, so. Our project that got disqualified, was. Fully ready for construction by the time the guidance came out, that the law came out. And there are tons of projects that didn't even apply for permits yet. That got in, so it wasn't it was a tough line in the sand that it wasn't directly targeted to this project, it just got caught up in the monkey change.
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't do the bigger project.
Yeah, it was,
That's basically where I'm coming in.
yeah, hindsight 2020, we would have found a customer or rushed CMP more, but it's hard to know.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions. Fine, Josh. Anything?
All right, gotta open up to public comment. Is there anyone out there?
No one online that wants to comment.
Okay. And seeing no public as well. We'll close the public comment. All right, any other final questions or motion or?
You got a pattern motion in the,
I'll make a motion, time for may.
All right,
I move the site plan application for Solarized Topsham LLC solar project. Be located on tax map R10 lot 085. Meets the applicable standards in the site plan review ordinance, chapter 175, and the zoning ordinance, chapter 225, including the specific performance standards for solar energy conversion systems, with the staff recommended conditions and findings identified in the memo dated October 2022.
do we have a second?
second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Showed it unanimous.
You have that printed that you just read.
Yes.
Last page, Patty.
The last
The motion
page.
says last page.
Good, would be great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Good
everybody.
luck. All right, I'll entertain another motion.
I move we adjourn.
We did.
Trying to think the word.
No one seconded yet. They both-
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Yeah.
All right.